So for step 33, attaching the RC equipment. Well, now we're going to put in the receiver, the speed controller, etc., attach the motor wires, and do a bit of cleanup as well before moving on to the next step. Now the only thing is, this is going to be different because we are using the Hobbywing speed controller that came with the kit. And these instructions are for the Tamiya speed controller in terms of how you would fit it to the chassis. So we're going to have to do something a little different with this one, and I don't know what yet, so we're going to play around with it. So I'll set this up and we're going to put this all together. So I decided to go ahead and put this all in so I could try and figure this out for you, especially with it being a Hobbywing speed controller. And honestly, for this kit, it wasn't too bad. So you can see with this, they had all the wires coming from this side. This one would then attach to here. We take the screws off that we normally do, put it through a boot, and stick it on. Well, the Hobbywing one is supposed to be a waterproof speed controller anyway. So I decided to turn it around. So the speed controller, the wires are coming off of this side instead, because there was just enough wire that you could put double-sided tape on the on-off switch, and you can see that it fits in that spot fairly nicely. So it's out of the way, and then of course there's the plastic cover that's going to go on top of that. Now there may be a bit of a gap, which I can figure out afterwards, but the actual switch fits okay. So all I've done is reversed the way they wanted the direction for the speed controller to sit there. Now the nice thing is it shortened up these cables coming off the ESC for the motor, meaning there's not as much excess. So that's okay, I'm happy with that. The only other thing that is of interest, this is going to go through an antenna pipe, so we're not going to have to worry about that. But this has to go outside of here. And the question is going to be, is it going to interfere with the drive shaft, which you can see here. Now I can put it underneath, which I have done as well, just sort of in trying to test this out. But we have the same problem because it's resting on the underside of the shaft, which we don't want either. So I may have to play around with it. Now, I'm not going to yet, and there's a reason for that. Because after we move on from that step, we have to do step 34, which is the tires, 35 is installing them, but then there is the cover, which they're wanting you to cut out in 36, and then we're going to install it in 37. And just because I'm trying to be consistent with the steps, we're not going to do this and skip over. But it's here where I'm going to want to know what's going to be the best placement for all of this. So I think at this point, this step I'm going to call done. I mean, everything is in the car, but the wiring and cleaning those up and getting them out of the way is obviously not done yet. But we'll be able to sort that out once we get that plastic cover on you know, all set up and ready to go. So I'm going to call 33 done at this point, and we're going to move on to step 34, and we're going to start putting the tires onto the wheels.